Hi, welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name is Michelle, and this is Michelle Sews Again. I have been sewing again now since March, after a 25 plus year break, and this is just my channel following my journey of improving my techniques and making a self-made wardrobe eventually, hopefully. Anyway, so today's video is about, it's a review on the Seamwork Almada Robe Pattern, and it's from the point of view of a beginner. So technically, I guess I'm not a beginner since I sewed, I had to take a class for my major in college in the late 80s. And I loved sewing. I picked it up. My boyfriend at the time bought me a sewing machine, and I kept sewing after the class was over. I made a ton. I was working full time while I was in school, and I made a ton of like skirts and tops and things and dresses for work at the time. And then, as happens, life got in the way, and I quit sewing. So in March, when we first went into lockdown and I was working from home, I decided to start sewing again. I don't even remember what prompted me, but I ordered a new sewing machine on Amazon, and yeah, I've been going at it ever since. So I am still a beginner though. I've just done basic things since I started. Nothing too fancy. And so this is a beginner's point of view on the Almada. So basically, what I wanted to do, I thought the pattern was beautiful. I love the photograph from the website, and I thought it was something that would be fairly simple to make, but yet let me try some new techniques. So the pattern itself does not call for French seams, but I knew that was something that I wanted to try so that my garments looked a little bit more refined. Because that's what as I'm sewing a little bit more and watching more videos and finding that people are, home sewists are making stunning garments. I want to perfect my technique. I want to get better at it so that I don't just have clothes to wear, but they look beautiful. So the Almada, like I said, it was a beautiful pattern, but it looked simple enough, and I wanted it to look well finished. So I decided to make to use French seams rather than, because the pattern itself doesn't call for French seams. It just calls for you to finish the seams. And I didn't want to use zigzags stitches. I don't have a serger yet. I'm gonna get one, but I don't have one yet. So I decided to try French seams. Now I had read about what I know what the concept is for French seams, where you match the wrong sides together, stitch, turn it over, and then sew that seam inside the seam. I didn't do a good job of determining the measurements of that. So I guess I'm considering this more of a wearable toile or muslin than, my ultimate garment, because my French seams are not 100% perfect. Some of the frayed edges of the initial seam are poking through the final seam, but not terrible. And I believe I can clip those down, and I think I'm the only one that can tell, and it's a robe, so it's not like I'm wearing it out in public. But I used this beautiful like watercolor fabric that I got from fabric.com. I love it. I love the colors. I think it's beautiful. So I did the French seams, like I said. I don't know if you can see them there. That's the inside. And I'm not sure if I can find an edge. Yeah, here. So here's an edge where like you can I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, there you go. The the frayed edges of the initial seam are coming through. But that's not the pattern's fault. That's my fault. I did watch Lucy from Sew Essentials. I watched one of her videos after I did this on how to do a French seam, and I wish I had watched that first because I don't think I would have run into this problem. So, like I said, I think I'm going to consider this a wearable toile, and I think I'm going to do it again. But honestly, I think it came out really pretty anyway. Um, the biggest thing to note as a beginner is that this fabric was really wrinkly, like super wrinkly. And I have not ironed fabric. I do wash my fabric before I sew to make sure that any shrinkage, happens before I put something together. But I didn't think that ironing it would make a huge difference. So I laid out the pattern and so there's 4 pattern pieces. There's the front, the back, the cuffs for the sleeve, and then the ties. I could only fit the front and the back. The tie and the cuffs, there was no room for. I decided to iron the fabric, and holy crap, that made the difference. I was able to fit all 4 pieces once I did that. So I didn't think ironing it I knew it would make a difference. I didn't think it would make as much of a difference as it did. Now, the only thing is to fit the cuff, and I think it's because the fabric shrunk, because I did have 4 yards of this, and that's what the pattern calls for my size. But I think it shrunk because to fit the cuff, I had to put the cuff on the bias, which the pattern does not call for. And I'm not, like I said, I'm a beginner, so I'm not super experienced. So I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. I thought it would look pretty because it would put the fabric at a different angle than the rest of the sleeve. But it also makes it very wimpy, like it's all kind of, I don't know, which is fine because it's a flimsy robe. It wasn't super difficult to work with. It's okay. And then I did the bias tape binding. I happen to have some in a teal color that worked pretty well. And that's the first time I've done that. I haven't done any bias tape binding. Yeah, I mean, for a beginner, it's a very easy pattern. The ties, I wasn't sure how that was going to work because you have to sew it down like in the middle of like the front, and I thought I was worried about getting fabric bunched up underneath, so I was like, I took my time and made sure that everything was smooth and I didn't have any fabric bunched up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. My husband was impressed, and he doesn't impress easily. That's the one of the things that I love about him is he doesn't say things just to be nice. If he gives a compliment, then I know it's sincere. He doesn't say mean things, just to be clear. But if I ask him if something looks good, he'll tell me the truth, which I appreciate. Sometimes I don't care because I like it. And usually if that's the case, then I don't ask his opinion anyway. But if he tells me that it looks good or that he likes it, then I know that he's telling the truth. So I appreciate honest, constructive feedback. So anyway, I'm going to put a picture up here of what the whole garment looks like. I am not comfortable modeling myself, so I'm putting it on a bust form. And I think it came out really, really nice, and it was super easy. I will say that I didn't do a great job of piecing the PDF together. So one of the pieces, I don't remember if it was the front or the back, by the time I got to the bottom, it was off a little bit, so I kind of like wiggled it into place. And then when I put the fabric together, not everything matched up. So I kind of had to clean some edges on the sleeves and the bottom. It worked out fine. But yeah, you know, if I make this again, I will take a little bit more time and I'll repiece the pattern together, so that I don't have that problem. And I will use the techniques, the measurements that Lucy suggested in her video on French seams. It's a 5-minute video, so if you don't know French seams, go and I'll link it below. Go watch Lucy's video because it's super easy to follow. Yeah, I definitely recommend. I have the membership to Seamwork, so I get my, I think 4 patterns a month or something like that. And their patterns are beautiful. This is the first one I've made. I do have several more downloaded. I'm not sure which one I'm going to make next, but if this one is any indication, then the directions were very easy to follow. And the garment came out beautiful. I'm really happy with it. I was hemming and hawing between 2 different fabrics that I have to make this. And so I put out a vote to like my family and friends, and the majority of them voted for this one. But my husband actually voted for the other one, and I really like the other one as well. I'll pop a picture up here of what that fabric looks like. It's like an ivory background with a really beautiful, like orangey floral, and black pattern. So I'm gonna probably make this again in that fabric now that I know what I'm doing with the French seams. Yeah, so really happy with that. Highly recommend the pattern. If you're a beginner, if you're not a beginner, then this will be a breeze for you. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I would love to know if you've made this or if you're planning on making it. I'd love to see what yours looks like. I've seen some beautiful pictures on Instagram. People have found like just gorgeous fabrics to make this in. Anyway, if you think that you would like to watch more of my content, then please subscribe, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Bye.